Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another tier list on the channel. As you guys can see, today we will be ranking every single Champions League final in the last 20 years. So from 2005 to the most recent one, 2025, we've got 5 different tiers that me and my chat just agreed on. GOAT tier, as in like this is a goated game. It's a classic game, like a really, really good one for the memory. It was a good match. It was forgettable. It was okay. And then it was just straight up awful. I'm reacting to this with my stream as well too. So if you guys catch me just talking to random people, I'm not going delusional. I'm just talking to my guys on stream, which you can catch on Twitch, Lyes Bouzidi. And yeah, like, share, subscribe as well too. Let's get into it, guys. Let's start with 2005. I think this is an easy GOAT tier. I think this has the potential to be the greatest Champions League final of all time for a multitude of reasons, right? First and foremost, the manner of the game. 3-0 down at halftime against one of the greatest assembled groups of players we've seen in the last 25 years. The names just roll off the tongue, man. Maldini, Jaap Stam, Cafu, Kaká, Seedorf, Pirlo, Shevchenko, Dida, like, wow. Ancelotti, incredible. Incredible against the Liverpool team that, if we're being honest, really had no business on the conversation of quality to really be up against them. It was Gerrard, who was obviously an amazing midfielder, and a decently strong defense. I always felt that Liverpool team throughout the 2000s, like, people will talk about the individual quality of attackers, but defensively, I always felt that they were a strong defensive unit, especially under Benitez in Europe. But it did feel a bit David and Goliath, and after 45 minutes, this felt like a formality. 3-0 down against one of the best teams in the world. How do they even come back from it? And as we know, as it went down, from 3-0 down to make it 3-3. Gerrard practically dragging the team by the neck, playing so many positions over this 90-minute period, over the 120 minutes. Center mid, right midfield, right back at times, popping up with a goal, winning a penalty. Incredible performance. Hippie's performance this game. Carragher's performance this game. Finnan, Didi Hamann, a huge cameo coming on in the second half. There were so many great performances in that second half, obviously masterminded by Rafa Benitez. And then how can you forget as well too, Jerzy Dudek in the penalty shootout over the 120 minutes, that save against Shevchenko. What I will say as well too, right? The reason I decided to do 2005, first and foremost, is because it's like 2025 to 2005, it makes sense, round number. But also from 2006 to 2025, I've watched every single one of these finals live. 2005, I did not watch live. I wasn't watching football consciously at this point. However, I have gone back and watched this entire final. I feel like if you're a football fan, you had to watch this game. And yeah, man, I mean, this is the greatest comeback in Champions League history. It's one of the greatest comebacks ever, and it has to be GOAT. This is, in my opinion, arguably the best Champions League final of all time. So we're gonna put it at GOAT tier. 2006 FC Barcelona versus Arsenal. Now, if we want some context to this game, Barcelona were probably the best team in Europe this season, spearheaded by Ronaldinho, who was the reigning player of the year before, Samuel Eto'o up front. Messi was kind of coming up, but he didn't even play a part in this final because of injury. Xavi, Deco, it was a great team, Barcelona, a really, really good team. Up against an Arsenal team that, I mean, Henry has actually come out and said recently, guys, he didn't even think this was Arsenal's best team. In fact, he thinks most of the players that played in this Arsenal team wouldn't have even been able to get in the 04 team or the 03 team. That's how good those Arsenal teams were. But in Europe, those great sides could never, ever really get it done in Europe. And he actually thinks maybe we were a little too stubborn and we wanted to play our way. However, in 2006, Vieira had gone, Bergkamp was on the decline, and maybe they felt they needed to play a bit more pragmatic to have any kind of success. And it was a more defensive team. It's a team in Arsenal that didn't concede a goal in open play, I don't think, until the final. I think they finally conceded a goal in the final. They were a really, really good defensive team, spearheaded by Henry, who was incredible these days. And the final really was an interesting one, right? Because despite all of the early Barcelona pressure, it's Arsenal who take the lead, even with 10 men. Jens Lehmann being sent off, Almunia coming on in his place, but Campbell getting the first goal. And yet in the second half, the substitutions of Iniesta and Henrik Larsson, again, you should go back and watch this game, guys. Larsson and Iniesta really changed this game as substitutes. Iniesta was so good. Larsson having basically the pre-assist for both the Eto'o goal and the Belletti goal. Really, really good cameos, man. Was it the pre-assist or the assist? I think he might have assisted both, actually. But yeah, man, really impressive cameo from the both of them. It wasn't a vintage Henry performance. He missed big chances. It was far from a vintage Ronaldinho performance. But ultimately, I think it's one of those occasions where the best team in Europe was also the Champions League winner. I'm going to say this is, for me, either classic or good match. I think it's classic or good match. I think there's a lot of Arsenal fans in here saying forgettable, but I think there's a bit of bias in that. I think I would put this classic or good match. I think for now, I'm going to put a good match. The reason why is because when we watch these big games, right? When we're watching Champions League finals, World Cup finals, we really want to see the best of the best at it. And I think the fact that Ronaldinho and Henry were not really at their best over 90 minutes in this game, it does kind of bring it down for me. But there was a lot of drama, guys. There was a lot of intrigue. There was a lot of back and forth. I'm going to put this at good match for now. Next up, 2007. The 2007 Champions League final is a repeat of the 2005. But guys, if we're being real, it's complete night and day, man. It's night and day. Liverpool were probably actually better as a team than they were in 2005, but Milan were much worse than they were in 2000 and 2005. Like, this was the aged version of the 2005 team. Maldini was like 40 years old. Stam wasn't there anymore. Cafu was a bench player. Their two fullbacks were hardly vintage fullbacks, and Jankulovski and Odo. Inzaghi was the striker, not Shevchenko. So it wasn't the great Milan team of 2 years back, but this was Kaká's year. This was Kaká's year. And throughout this tournament, he was the best player in the Champions League. Put United to the sword, knocked out Bayern, knocked out Celtic, and he had a very good cameo in the final as well too. But really, this final was about Inzaghi, man. Didn't even have a great season that year, but in the final, he was just too clutch, bro. He was just way too clutch. But this final, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to put it at forgettable because, and this is not biased here, right? I actually think Man United were a better team than both these guys. And I know Man United lost to Milan, so I'm going to sound bitter as hell. But I think over the course of the entire season, Man United were a better team than AC Milan that year. And to be honest, Chelsea were a better team over the course of that season than Liverpool. So we probably didn't get the final between the two best teams of the season. But that's sometimes how the Champions League goes, right? It can be decided by moments. And I don't think it was a classic final, but I'll put it at forgettable. Maybe we move it up later, but I'll put it at forgettable for now. 2008. I'm putting this at classic. And again, you guys might think I'm biased because Man United won the 2008 final. But I think this was a classic because I think this was between the two best teams in Europe at the time. Chelsea and Man United were the two best teams in England, and I think you could have made the argument as well too. They were the two best teams in Europe as well too. I honestly think at this point in time, the Premier League was easily the best league in Europe because you look at, in that period, the semifinals are always dominated by English teams. That year, the semifinals, it was what? Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Barcelona. The following season, Chelsea, Barca, Arsenal, Man United. The season before that, 2007, Man United, Milan, Chelsea, Liverpool. Every year, it's English teams versus English teams. So at this point, I think that the Premier League was really at its best at that time. Like, you had the semifinals consistently dominated by English teams. And this final was really dramatic, man. I mean, Ronaldo and Man United take the lead. I think in the first half, Man United were much better. But then in the second half, Chelsea were by far the better team. They hit the post. They equalized in the first half. But in the second half, they hit the post. They hit the bar. They had chances. They were so good in that second half. Extra time comes around. Drogba gets his red card. Could that have changed the penalty shootout if he takes the fifth penalty instead of John Terry? And then the penalty shootout. Cristiano Ronaldo, of all people, missing a penalty against Petr Cech, who was probably the best goalkeeper in the world at that time. Super dramatic. He misses. It's left for John Terry to take the winning penalty. He slips. It hits the post. Man United come back. Man United win. It's an incredible final, man. Contested between, in my opinion, the two best teams in the world at the time. So I'm going to have it at classic, but it might even be a goated final, bro. This was a really, really good final. 2009, Barcelona versus Man United. And this was really the crowning moment of an amazing, amazing Barcelona team that really took football by storm. And again, I think it was a final between the two best teams in Europe, just like the year before. I think truly the two best teams in Europe played this final. Now, some people can argue how Barcelona got to the final. Some people will say the first leg of that. Whatever. If we're looking at just the final, it was the two best teams in the world. And it was probably the two best players in the world. For the first time, by the way, Messi and Ronaldo really going at it against each other. And Barcelona took us to the sweepers, man. Honestly, they took us to the cleaners. They were so superior. The first 10 minutes, we actually played pretty well. I actually think so. If you watch back that final, the first 10 minutes, we were in it. But the minute Pep Guardiola made that change to move Messi centrally and Eto'o out on the wing, and Iniesta started getting more control of the game, we couldn't touch them, man. Barcelona were so dominant in this game. And you know what? I think it is a classic. I think it is a classic. Like, it's one of those Champions League games that people will always remember. Like, I hate to say it because it came against my team, but in a way, I think it is a classic. I think it's a minimum good game. We really need to look at it outside of the lens of, like, because my team lost, it's not a classic. Like, it's one of those games that people will talk about for generations to come, about how Barcelona destroyed Man United that day. I'm seeing some people say GOAT, good. I'd say good, GOAT, good. Okay, let's put it good. I can hear that because you know what? I think 2011 maybe fits more the classic. Okay, I'll put it at good for now. Inter versus Bayern Munich. Obviously, as you guys know, I make it no secret. I absolutely love this Inter team. And again, a crowning moment for an amazing year. A crowning moment for an amazing year from Inter Milan. But if we're being honest, I don't think the two best teams played in this final. I don't think Bayern were the second best team in Europe this year, as good as they were. And I don't think this game was particularly memorable. Like, Milito made it memorable because of how influential he was in the game, his goals. But I don't think this is a largely memorable final. I think Inter's run, the semi-final against Barca is a goated semi-final. But the final itself, I don't think was the most goated game. I think a large part of it was Bayern having possession, as Van Gaal teams do, and Inter defending deep and hitting them counterattacks, as Mourinho teams do. I'm tempted to put it good or forgettable, but I'm gonna put it at good. I'm gonna put it at good. I'll put it here. 2011, I think is a classic. I think you're probably right. 2011 describes more what I'm trying to say in 2009, more so than 2009. This game, guys, I mean, up to 2025, was considered the biggest battering in a final in Champions League history. It was a schooling, and I think it was the crowning point for, in my opinion, the greatest club side I have ever seen in my life. This Barcelona team was the pinnacle for me. Honestly, I've never watched a football game where my team plays and felt so hopeless. Like, honestly, felt so powerless compared to what the other team was doing. They were just so superior, man. They had Sir Alex Ferguson shaking. It was the greatest team I've ever seen. Probably the best player I've ever seen at his highest moment. Yeah, I think this is a classic game. I think it's a classic game. So I'm gonna have this Barcelona team in 2011 in classic 2011 Barca against Man United. Someone just said they need to make a new tier called traumatizing. Yeah, we put these two finals in traumatizing. 2012 Chelsea versus Bayern Munich. Oof. I think this is a classic. I think this is a classic again. And I think you could even make an argument for GOAT. Because again, you talk about the comeback, you talk about the story of Chelsea even getting there. You talk about the fact they're playing in the Allianz Arena. You talk about the fact that they were down the entire game until Didier Drogba, playing his final ever game for Chelsea, equalizes in the dying moments. And then in extra time, they concede a penalty. And their ex-player, Robben, takes it. He misses. And then in the penalty shootout, Petr Cech, I think, dived right every single way except for one. And then who else to score the winning penalty? But again, Drogba, who basically made that entire run about him. And he takes the final that years prior he should have taken, but didn't get to because of suspension. I'm sorry, it might be GOAT. This might be a GOAted Champions League final, man. I think I'm going to put it GOAT. Do we have any objection? I think it's a GOAted final. I think it is. Could be a GOAT, optimize the drama of football and added in the story of Drogba. Yeah. I'm not taking into account the semifinal. The semifinals and stuff for any of these, they don't matter. We're talking about the final as an individual final. I think I'm putting a GOAT, man. Bayern Munich 2013 up against Dortmund, the first all-German final being played at Wembley. This was a really fun game, guys. Guys are saying awful. I disagree. It was actually a really good game of football. I think it was a good game, personally. I think if you watch back that game, it was fun. That Dortmund team was fun. That Bayern team were on a quest for redemption, and they ultimately got it. Robben basically bearing the demons of a year ago. I think this was a fun game. Emmanuel was saying, I remember being mad at Robben because I didn't want the game to end. It was a really fun game. That Dortmund team was really, really fun. I'm going to put this at good game. It was definitely better than 2010, guys. I'll say this right now. It was definitely a better game than 2010. I'm putting this at good game. 2014 Real Madrid against Atletico. 2014 La Decima to break the curse. Down 1-0 to Atletico. Atletico have the whole Diego Costa situation. He plays, then comes off. They waste the sub. Then Godin scores right before halftime. And then the entire second half, Real Madrid just batter them. Knock on the door, knock on the door, knock on the door with no luck whatsoever. And then in the final seconds, Luka Modric onto the head of Sergio Ramos to save the day, save Real Madrid, send it to extra time. And then I think in extra time, everybody knew Atletico had put so much energy into that final, so much blood, sweat, and tears, that the minute it went to extra time, I think we all knew, right? It's over for them. And then Bale, Marcelo, and Cristiano. He was not letting that final go without having his say on the game. A lot of people in my chat are saying goated. I think I hear it. I think it's minimum classic. I think this might be a goated final. Chat. I might put this one right here. The stakes were crazy. It's the fact it's the decima as well, too. I'm putting this at goated. I think this is a goated final, man. Barcelona 2015 against Juventus. 3-1 on the night. MSN crowning their incredible year off of a treble. That Juve team was also, I think, on the quest for a treble as well, too. They were a really, really good team as well, too. And Barca, I mean, they just put together, again, an amazing game. Even though Juve, at one point, they really gave it a good go. Obviously, they made it 1-1. A lot of people think Juve should got a penalty right before Suarez scored. I think this was a great game. Where are we putting it? I'm seeing a lot of classics. Good match, classic. I actually think it was a good game. I think I would put a good match. I think I would put it right here. It was a good game. And honestly, I would have loved to see Barca Real this season. That's what football needed. Football needed a Clasico final most of these years. But this year in particular, that Real Madrid team versus this Barcelona team, football would have peaked. In a Champions League final, football would have peaked. I think of all the years, maybe 2012 as well too, we really should have seen a Clasico that year. But this year in particular, my goodness, man. 2016 Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. Okay, this is one of the worst finals I've ever seen. I think so. Guys, this one was not really that fun. This final was not that great. This one was a goated. This one, are we doing it awful or forgettable? I think it might be awful. I mean, fair enough to Real Madrid. Everyone in my chat is saying awful. Even Real, as a Madrid fan, awful. This was not a great final, guys, if we're being real. Real Madrid grabbed their goal. Griezmann misses a penalty. Carrasco grabs the equalizer. Then it goes to penalties. Juanfran missed. It just wasn't a great final. Honestly, it wasn't that entertaining. I don't think both teams were at their best. Like this year, Atletico had won the league. Real Madrid were really good this year. This year, I don't think either of these teams were the best in Europe. I don't think they were. So I'm going to put this at awful, to be honest with you. I am not a fan of this final, to be honest. Now, this final was very, very good. 2017 Real Madrid versus Juventus. This was a very, very, very good final. And I know that the game ended 4-1, but I think Juve were actually decent in this game, and towards the end, it just got out of hand. But Real Madrid were so good in this game, man. Like they were great all year, to be honest with you. It's one of the best Real Madrid teams I've ever seen for a year. But they were so good in this final, and it was Cristiano at his absolute apex in terms of goal scoring. Noodle hair Ronaldo, the Terminator, the Dark Invader, as Ray Hudson used to call him. I mean, it's a masterclass in goal scoring, bro. It's a masterclass in movement and anticipating chances. I'm going to put this at classic. I think this was a really good final, man. Oh, the quality of goals as well, too, man. The Ronaldo finishes were amazing. The Mandzukic goal is one of the best final goals you'll ever see in a final. Yeah, I put them at classic, man. I put it on classic. 2018 Real Madrid versus Liverpool. I also put as a really good game. Now, it could have been even better if Salah had stayed, if he hadn't gotten injured by Ramos. But this game was actually, I'm seeing so many people say awful. Guys, on the basis of the whole game, I think it was a great game. I actually think it was a really good game. And I'm not saying that just because Liverpool lost. I'm really not saying that. But this was actually a good game. Yes, the Karius mistakes take some shine off it. But also it adds to the story as well too, man. It adds to the story. The Bale cameo, Sadio Mane getting that equalizer. I think Isco and Modric were amazing in this game. Specifically Modric. I think Modric was amazing in this game. I think it was a great game. I'm going to put this, to be honest, I think this was a really good final, guys. I really think this was a great final. Entertainment-wise, I think it was a great final. I'm putting it at classic. What do you guys think? Facts, bottom of good, fair, very entertaining. We can move it if we have to. I can hear it. It's definitely lower classic if we're going to put it classic, or higher of good. But I'm going to put it lower classic for now. This is the worst final I think I've ever seen in my life. And it's not because Liverpool won it. I know it's not a good look from me, the fact that I'm putting this one classic and this one awful, but I'm not being biased when I say this. This final sucked. It actually sucked so much, bro. Seriously, like, I mean, it was barely a contest once Salah scored his penalty. But the quality of football in this game, oh my goodness, man. I wish I could get my 90 minutes back from that. Horrible. Horrible, man. Absolutely horrible. I'm putting this final at awful. The worst Champions League final maybe I've ever seen. 2020 Bayern versus PSG. I didn't think this game was great either. In fact, I'm going to put it at forgettable. Maybe it's because of COVID as well too. But I was really disappointed by that final because I think Neymar played a really bad final and there was so much hype around him in the build up to it. I think Mbappe played a really bad final as well too. Lewandowski hardly lit it up and it was decided by a Coman goal when arguably the best chances of the game fell to PSG. And it probably says everything that PSG's best player in this game was Ander Herrera. Ander Herrera, I think, was PSG's best player. Thiago was unbelievable in this game though. Thiago and Kimmich played amazing finals and obviously Coman decided it. But for me, this is a forgettable final. I'm not really a huge fan of it. Very forgettable. Anybody else disagree? Neuer was great. Yeah, Neuer was very, very good as well too. I agree. Good match in my opinion. I agree. Okay, so we'll leave them at forgettable. Chelsea 1, Manchester City 0, 2021. Where are we putting this one? Obviously, Thomas Tuchel coming in halfway through the season and completely changing life for Chelsea fans. whereas Man City were seemingly on a route for destiny. I mean, Mahrez was incredible for Man City in that Champions League run, beating PSG in the semis, beating Dortmund in the quarters. And I think Man City really came into this game as favorites. But one thing people forget about this is in the build-up to this game, Chelsea, I think, beat Man City twice. They beat them in the league and they beat them in the FA Cup final like weeks before that Champions League. So Thomas Tuchel had already shown that he had a knack for getting the better of Pep Guardiola in knockout football. 3 times in the last 3 weeks, excuse me. They beat them 3 times. But this final, I think everyone thought Man City were going to win it. But I think this final will ultimately go down as the final where Pep Guardiola just went too big brain, dropping Rodri and dropping Fernandinho, something he hadn't done all season long, and playing Gundogan as a DM. Then playing Sterling in the final when he hadn't really been part of the build-up all throughout the tournament, excuse me. And Chelsea got their goal on the break. Kai Havertz rounding the keeper, etching himself in Chelsea folklore until he decided to go to Arsenal. Where do we kind of have this, guys? Chelsea were an amazing defensive team this year, by the way. I'm seeing awful, forgettable, awful. I wasn't a really huge fan of this final, to be honest with you. I definitely think it's one of the two. Yeah, I think this was an awful final, to be honest with you. I don't think this was a vintage one. Real Madrid versus Liverpool. I want to put this one a good match, to be honest with you. I think this was a good match. I don't think it was great. I don't think it was classic. I don't think it was goated. I also don't think it was awful. I mean, both teams had their chances. Real Madrid thought they had taken the lead in the first half. Liverpool had so many chances as well too. Courtois had an amazing final. Benzema, there was so much made of him before the game. I don't think he played his best final. It was ultimately decided by Vinicius. I put this game at good, I think. I think this is a good game. Obviously, Real Madrid's route to the final was amazing, and Liverpool were en route for a quadruple. Liverpool were amazing this season. I put it at a good match. Maybe we'll move one of these two down to forgettable. I'll put this as a good game. 2023 Man City. Forgettable. To be honest with you, I remember where I was when I watched this final. I watched this final live on SDS. We did a watch long for this game. And Inter actually played a really, really good game this game. I actually think over the 90 minutes, they were probably the better team. I think Inter created so many chances. But Man City, I mean, quality showed. Rodri taking his goal extremely well. The quality of the game as a whole, I think I might put this one forgettable, Chad. I might put this one forgettable. What are we saying? Forgettable. Maybe the best day of my life. I mean, look, for all of you guys who support teams in these finals, it was either the best day of your life or the worst. But if we're looking at it objectively, I don't think this was a great final. And on the basis of how the game went, I actually think Inter played a really good game. But ultimately, Lukaku, when you talk about big games, big moments, big players, Lukaku is the last guy you want in these kinds of games. But Stones obviously put together a classic in this game. Onana basically bought himself a route to Man United off this game. I'll put it forgettable. 2024 Real Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. I'm tempted to even say all. The first half, Dortmund battered them. Do you guys remember how badly Dortmund battered them in the first half? Like, Dortmund should have been winning in that first half. And then in the second half, they barely put up a fight. Real Madrid were just too superior for them. So I'm either thinking all for a forgettable, chat. What are we thinking? To be honest, this entire Champions League campaign, I don't think was a classic. I don't think it was a great Champions League campaign anyways. So I'm tempted to say forgettable for these guys. One of the worst games ever, forgettable. I mean, Real Madrid in the first half were so bad. So bad. But then in the second half, Dortmund barely put together a fight. No, Real Madrid were good, but I'm saying as a campaign as a whole, it's not like you had classics every single round, every single game. Like, this year's Champions League is a classic campaign, in my opinion. This 2022 campaign is a classic campaign. 2019 is a classic campaign. This campaign is not one that I'm going to remember for years, to be honest with you. I'm going to put this one in forgettable. I think it's a forgettable final. I don't think many people will remember this final for many years to come. And then 2025 PSG against Inter, the 5-0, outdoing Barcelona as the most dominant Champions League final performance by any team ever. I'm seeing a lot of classics. Let me tell you guys what the difference is, and I'm not saying I'm gonna put them here, but let me just compare them. This is the difference between 2011 and 2025. Man United were not bad in this final. They were just extremely inferior to Barcelona. But as good as PSG were in this final, and they were very, very good, I actually attribute it almost as much to how bad Inter were. I think Inter were just as bad as PSG were good. Personally, and PSG were very good, but Inter were very, very bad, and that's why it ended up being 5-0. I think Barcelona, it was just like, this team is once in a lifetime, bro. So I'm not going to put these guys at classic. I think I'm going to put them in good match. I think I'm going to put them in even good match. Right? It's not forgettable. No one's ever going to forget this final, guys. No one will ever forget this final. And I don't think it was an awful game. I think it is a classic. I think when a team wins 5-0 in a Champions League final, in some way, it's kind of shit, but also it is a classic. Similar to how Real Madrid won 4-1, it's just like an extreme sign of dominance. I'm going to put them in classic. I think I will. I'll probably put it here. If I'm going to switch some teams around, I think I'm going to put this game in GOAT, guys, 2008. I think 2008 was a GOATed Champions League final. I think I'm going to move 2006 to forgettable. And I might even move this one to forgettable as well too. And I might move 2011 to goated. 2013 should be higher. 2013 was a great final, bro. 2013 was a great final. In fact, bro, I might even do this, guys. I don't really have a huge problem doing this because, guys, most finals are not that great. You know what I mean? Most Champions League finals ever are not that good. Like, finals are typically cagey. They're chess matches. They're hardly classics. They're hardly memorable. So it makes more sense that there's more forgettable and awful finals than there are GOATs and classics. You guys understand what I'm saying? Guys are saying 2024 should be awful. So you guys want to move this one down here. I can kind of hear it. And maybe we move this one up to good match. I think I'm kind of happy with this. If the last 32 winners played, who would be the end winner? Well, I don't have the last 32 winners. I have the last 16 winners, or the last 11 winners, the last 21 winners, excuse me. So I have the last 21 winners. Out of all these teams, I think these are the best. This is the best team individually. But who would win a Champions League final? I think these guys have a huge chance. 2017 Real Madrid. Just because I think they could really go toe-to-toe with any team. And they were so, like, they could beat you in so many different ways. So I would probably say one of those two teams. I think both these teams were really, really good. 2011 and 2017. I think those two teams were incredible, man. But this isn't based on the best teams. It's based on the best finals. So I think I'm happy with this, guys. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know down in the comments section down below. What do you guys think? Would you have changed anything? Would you move anything up? Would you move anything down? But this is what me and Mike chat came down to. And I think I'm pretty happy with it, man. It's symmetrical. I think you have, look, obviously teams like Chelsea fans are not going to be happy. Liverpool fans are not going to be happy. But I think I've been objective here, guys. As a Liverpool, like if you're a Liverpool fan, I put your 2005 final as the greatest final of all time. If you're a Chelsea fan, I put your 2012 final as the greatest of all time. If you're a Real Madrid fan, I put 2014 and goated. So I don't think anyone can really take this too tough. Okay, look, if I'm gonna make it in order, Liverpool is definitely, this is the worst final. Okay, so I would do it like probably this. I'll probably go like this, to be honest with you. I'll probably go like this, and then from here, I might go this here. I'm happy with this. Honestly, I'm quite happy with this. I'll probably put this one right here. Yeah, I'm happy with this order. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, guys. Are you guys happy with the tiers? Are you guys happy with the orders? And what would you have changed? Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.